People, welcome to the sports segment of the weekend show. I am Ayo Adams, and this Saturday is a beautiful one because it's the UEFA Champions League final Saturday happening between Man City and Chelsea. And so far, the headlines today, we have Villarreal played. We have Villarreal who won the UEFA Europa League against Manchester United. All the headlines around the world of sports. We also have the Tigers playing in the Afro basketball in Rwanda, and the Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight happening later on. So moving on to the first story, we have Villarreal who won a Manchester United in Europa League final in the penalty shootout. Manchester United were the club who were pipped to win the Champions Europa League, but that didn't happen as Villarreal stunned them with the opening goal by Gerardo Moreno before starman Edison Cavani put one back. And then the game went into extra time. So I have in the studio with me, I have Fabulous, who is a Chelsea fan, in the studio with me to discuss the Champions League final. And I also have Joe, he's a Madrid fan. And he will be telling us about the Champions League final too, because his team, they are no different to the final. You guys are consistent in the final. Yeah. Welcome, guys, to the studio.
Thank you, Ayo, for having me.
Thank you, Ayo, for having me.
All right, then. So let's move on to the first story. We have Villarreal who won the Europa Cup, and that was the first time they've done it in 93 years. And that's Unai Emery's signature. The UEFA Europa League should be Unai Emery's trophy. And going first of all, let me ask you, Fabulous, how, as a counterpart to Manchester United, how did you feel that they lost that game to Villarreal?
I was excited. My heart was beating. I was supporting Villarreal from start to finish. And, you know, the nerves during the penalties, 10 penalties each for each team. And it was crazy.
They need their assignment, right?
Yes, they need their assignment. And I'm sorry for Dege. I think the match was kind of like a send-off to him because I think he's going, but it just wasn't his day. And I'm sorry for him.
All right. Then, still talking about the Europa League final, Manchester United has gone trophyless for the fifth season in a row since Mourinho left. Mourinho was the last person who won the trophy for Manchester United, and that was UEFA Europa League final with almost half the team on crutches. So let me ask you, what do you think went wrong with Manchester United? How have they gone trophyless this season yet again?
First of all, I think it boils down to man management, only not being able to manage the team very well. And also, I really doubt his tactical nous, because sometimes his selections are really, really bad. You think he's a learner. Well, he hasn't got so much experience behind him. The last time he tried coaching a team was in Cardiff, which he really failed out. I'm talking about the British team. Yeah. British team. He did that. He did well with Mulder, but that's quite a long way off the level of Manchester United. These are top level of English football. I can't say Manchester United is back to the top level of European football, but at the level of English football, he hasn't really shown himself to be worthy of probably handling a first-class team. All
right. And then moving on to still talking about UEFA. UEFA announced the UEFA Europa Conference League earlier this week. And the UEFA Europa Conference League is a new club competition for the 2021 season. How do you guys see it?
The UEFA Conference League, it's a good one if you look at it from one aspect, because financially, clubs will want to take part and they'll have this European feel. But then if you look at it from a fixture aspect, it means that there'll be more fixtures for clubs, so they need more prepared. They need to be more prepared and everything. So yeah, it's a good one. Let clubs experience Europe too.
All right, UEFA stated that the need for this competition is to allow more teams to participate and compete on the European stage, and best of them all take the European glory. 184 teams will be competing in the inaugural edition of this competition later in 2021 and 2022 season. And that's and then in the Europa Conference League would have teams coming from all the 55 associations across the world, would have teams coming from the playoffs. Now, in the Champions League, when teams crash out in the third position, they go to the Europa League. Yeah. And when teams crash out from the Champions League playoffs, they go and play the playoffs in the Europa League. But now, so when teams crash out in the UEFA Europa League third position, they go to the UEFA Conference League. Yeah. So they are going to have a group of 184 teams spread out in 8 groups, 4 teams populating each group. And that's for our viewers to know how the UEFA Conference League is going to happen. And then finally, when they get to the knockout stages, it's still going to be the normal routine. Yeah. The group leaders proceed into the knockout stages, while the runners-up, they now play the knockout stages playoff with the teams who came from the third position in the Europa Conference League. Yeah. So this is almost like a shot at Super League who doesn't want to include teams. He doesn't want to include teams.
Yes.
And one other thing that UEFA mentioned, I think it was a rumor has been going on, is the fact that the away goal rule is going to be scrapped from next season. What's your take on that?
They said they're actually looking, going to it, researching into the away goal rule, which I don't feel comfortable with, because that's the beauty of the Champions League and Europa League all these years, whereby you have to really defend your home very well, make your home stadium your fortress for your guys, your opponents not to come and score the away goal, which can actually just knock you out. But going back to the Conference League, I call it the all-inclusive league.
Yeah,
because it's just, I think it's a stopgap measure of just bringing everybody
together.
Yeah. I feel it's good
enough. The UEFA
enough.
actually stated that the reason for this is for the inclusivity of other teams.
Yes, which I really support. I totally support it, because now what they also did, and I liked it, because they brought in from the top 5 leagues just one team each. So they're not going to go beyond that, but they're bringing more from the lower leagues, from the minnows, as we want to call it in football, into European football. Let them have a feel of what European football is like.
Yes. All right then, and that's the inclusivity that UEFA mentioned. A total of 184 teams will be playing across Europe next season for the Europa Conference League. And moving on, it's the transfer season. And what are we seeing here? We're not even seeing players yet. We are seeing coaches leaving their teams. We've seen at least 4 top coaches who have left their teams and gone into other. Some have gone into other teams, while some are still waiting for jobs to come. And the first one that happened is my guest here in the studio, their stellar coach, Zizou Zinedine Zidane, who won the 3 consecutive Champions League, first time in history, left the club. How do you feel, Joe? How do you feel about Zizou leaving?
Well, I feel indifferent about it, really. Because I've always said I belong to a Madrid group, a nationwide Madrid group, and I've always advocated for Zizou to actually move on at this stage. Why? Because they brought him for the transition. He hasn't been able to do the transitioning. So why is he still there? Why is he playing the old guards every weekend, every Champions League game? So I think most of the times he has let us down as a people, as a fan of the club, by moving on those young lads. We expected the young lads to come in and replace this old. Yes.
This is a new pool of football that allows youngsters to flourish.
Youngsters to flourish. So why are you not bringing in our guys? You understand? So he's bringing in, he's retaining the same old guards. He's retaining the likes of Modric, Kroos, Casemiro, Ramos, and all of these guys, and they are not performing week in and week out. I'm not saying they are not good enough, but I'm saying age is catching up with them, and these guys can't do it consistently at the top level, week in and week out anymore. And we have these guys who are good enough, and they've gone on to different teams, and they flourished. Amazing players. For example, Marcos Llorente. He's been the stellar player. He's the spine of Atletico Madrid, besides, of course, Luis Suarez. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, I think it's time for the new era. It's time for a new phase. That's what I call it.
All right, then. Still talking about coaches who left their clubs. We have Juventus, who sacked Andrea Pirlo, but some said he left the club. And then they brought back in Massimiliano Allegri, their old coach, who got them the Scudetto. Well, Juventus still won a couple of trophies this season, but it's not as much as the trophy that is synonymous to the old leaders, which is the Serie A. And moving on, we'll still in Italy, we talk about Conte, Antonio Conte, who won the Scudetto for Inter Milan this season. He's been seemingly wanting to leave the club for a long time, but because of differences with players and some commitment to some of his players that he had in the ranks, he decided to stay, and then he won the Scudetto. But then the owner and the board of Inter Milan have decided that they have to let him go because their thoughts don't align. They want to sell some players, he doesn't. Conte has been was a Chelsea coach, and he won Chelsea the Premier League when he came to Chelsea. How do you feel about Conte leaving Inter Milan? Do you think this is the right step for them after winning this Scudetto, after creating, because that was a really good team this season with the likes of Lukaku, Sanchez. It brought back some people from the dead, people who were casted off by their teams, and with some youngsters, with Vrij, with Barella in the middle, and with Achraf Hakimi. Yeah. So how do you think it's a good thing for to let Conte go?
Well, I think one thing with Conte is whatever Conte doesn't want, he doesn't want.
Yes.
He's a very, very strict coach to his players and to his management. I think the dispute is between him and the owners of the club. The owners of the club are trying to raise about 100 million to balance their books because I think they're in debt. So they want to sell players like Lukaku and high-profile players. And Conte is telling them, see, we've won this league. We need to be challengers. Or the people need to come. People will come and challenge us. Yes. We need to be ready for them. We need top players to have that pedigree to keep this title or to at least be in the fight. If you start selling your top players, then we're not going to be in the fight, and we're not going to make more money because if you're in the fight, you make more money because you win things. So he's telling them, sorry, my dreams don't align with your dreams, and I have to leave. I'm sorry. Projects have gone different ways.
Yeah.
The main issue here is the investors. They are really in debt right now, and there are other companies. There are other football team in China has been run aground, so they don't have the money to finance these football teams anymore. So what I would always suggest, why don't you sell off these teams? Inter Milan is a traditional team, Italian team. I think if you put it up for sale, max like 2 billion.
People will
see
come.
somebody must buy it.
People
You understand? So, but what I'm trying to also say is, at the end of the day, football is all about winning trophies and balancing your books.
Definitely.
Very important.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
if these guys they think this is what they need to do to get to the next step, the next level, because what they're trying to say, apart from selling these guys, they want to bring in young players from their own academy. Want to put more money into their own system to get in better players, in quotes. And Conte is saying no. He likes to bring in the experienced players. He likes to bring in players who are deadwoods in other leagues to just go show up his team and get them going.
All right, then, as Conte also left Inter Milan, we also had Madrid is vacant currently. Allegri did not go to Madrid because they were stalling. And Tottenham are still with their interim coach at the moment. Well, the shock to the world yesterday was that Real Madrid and Tottenham have contacted Mauricio Pochettino from PSG if he would come back to the helm of leadership. And it seems that he may be leaning towards Tottenham. Well, the Spurs fans will be waiting to see if that happens. All the Madrid fans will be waiting to see if they get Pochettino at the helm of affairs. And then moving on, still talking finally on the final coach today that got sacked. It was Gennaro Gattuso who got sacked from Napoli, and almost immediately in the same week, he got hired by Fiorentina. I mean, what a week Gattuso has had in football, getting sacked by a top team in the Serie A and also getting hired back by another team in the Serie A. Well, we'll see how the Serie A is going to compete next season because we have Gennaro Gattuso also there. And Simeone Inzaghi from Lazio left his club and has taken over the helm of leadership at Lazio too. And Mourinho is coming to Roma next season. Also, the Serie A is something to watch next season with these top coaches with good records coming back to the helm of leadership. And moving on, we are going to the countdown to the Euros. After the football season finally finishes today in the Champions League final, we will be going into one of the best competitions, European competitions in the world, where we'll see some of the young stars. And today's major clash is the Champions League final with Chelsea playing Manchester City in Porto. Guys, what are your thoughts? Fabulous, I don't think I need to ask you twice. What do you think about Chelsea today?
I mean, as a Chelsea fan, obviously, I'm going for the win. I think Guardiola has been thinking, he has been overthinking, how do I beat this team?
Yeah.
They've beaten me twice already this season. I saw a video where he was analyzing Chelsea and everything. But I think in the end, it will be down to who can take their chances, and it will be down to a bit of luck, because these finals, everybody is talented. It's just your tactics, take your chances, and then a bit of luck. If you have luck on your side, you clinch the title.
Give us a scoreline prediction.
I'm going with an early goal for Chelsea and a late goal for Chelsea, so 2-0 for Chelsea.
All right, that's bold and confident from a Chelsea fan. All right, Joe, your team has played the Champions League final, and you know how it feels to be in the Champions League final. Who do you think would take this time?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Pep.
All right.
Big fan of Pep, despite the fact that I'm a Madrid man.
Okay.
You understand? But I think Pep will want to have one over Chelsea this time around. I don't think Chelsea will have the strength to beat Pep 3 times on the bounce. It's most likely not possible.
That'd be record-breaking if that happens.
So I also think that Pep knows what he's going to do already. Like he said, he doesn't have an issue slipping over the finals. He knows what he wants to do. He's going to show up his team with the midfield, shut out Jorginho and what do you call this guy? Kante, that guy is
he's everywhere.
He's everywhere. I think he just duplicated himself in every part of the pitch. But I think Mason Mount is also going to be key. So Pep needs to really have him checked. All
right, fans and viewers at home, Chelsea and Manchester City fans at home, let us know on our Twitter page. We already put out a prediction poll. Let's see, who do you think would take the final in the Champions League final today? Who do you think, Manchester City or Chelsea? Give us your correct scoreline on our Twitter page on @weekendshow_NG with your predictions, and you might be the lucky winner of 10 gig each to 4 lucky winners who predict correctly. And now moving on, we move on into basketball, where we have the Tigress. We have the Tigress of Nigeria playing in the AfroBasket in Rwanda 2021. They've been put in the group, in Group C with Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, and Kenya. They've also started their preparation games. They played Puerto Rico yesterday, and they'll also be playing Belgium and other teams later today to prepare for their competition in Rwanda, which they are already in. And moving to tennis, we have the French Open, the Roland Garros, has begun earlier this week with the likes of Roger Federer Djokovic, and Rafael Nadal. Serena Williams, Naomi Osaka, all of them are all going to be there to play. And so let's know who is your favorite? Who is your favorite to win the Roland Garros, the French Open, later when it finishes? And moving on to boxing, we have Fury versus Wilder 3, as the first one ended in a tie, and the second one, Fury knocked Wilder out. And finally, there's a third game, there's a third matchup between the heavyweights. And that proceeded into the fight that has been in occurrence, that has been in the competition since that's the fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, has now been put on hold. And WHO has ordered Anthony Joshua to fight Alexander Usyk to be able to hold on to his championship. And that's all we have for you on the sports segment of the weekend show. My name is Ayo Adams, and thank you, Fabulous, for coming on the show.
Thank you. Always lovely to be on the show.
And thank you guys for coming on the show. And finally, before you guys go, you're a Premier League person. Give me your first 11 in the Premier League so far this season.
Okay, quickly, from the top of my head, I'll go Emiliano Martinez in goal.
Oh, good choice.
Cancelo at right back. Ruben Diaz at centre back. Harry Maguire or Fafana at the other centre-back pairing. I'll go for Luke Shaw at the left back. I'll use a 3-man midfield. I'll go Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes. I'll use a 3-man attack. I'll go Salah, Harry Kane and Jack Grealish.
Wow, that's a good one. But Jack Grealish over Son?
Yes, that Son just missed out. I looked at Jack Grealish because of the injuries.
Yes.
If he was available, I think he would have been a contender for Player of the Season.
So which would you like to stay, the La Liga 11 or your own Premier League 11?
I think I'm going to stick with his.
Yeah, let's get your Premier League 11. Okay. Let's see.
Okay, I should give my Premier League or La Liga.
Give us your Premier League 11.
Okay,
yes.
In goal, I will go with Sam Johnstone, the West Brom goalkeeper. He's been brilliant. Then right back, João Cancelo, amazing guy. Then
amazing guy.
Ruben Diaz and also Fofana has been a brilliant lad. Then left back, Chilwell. Quite good.
Okay, not bad.
Midfield, N'Golo Kante, of course.
Oh yeah, the man that's everywhere.
Yeah. Then I'll go with Ilkay Gundogan. Then also attacking midfield, Jack Grealish comes into midfield, not in attack like he did.
Okay.
Then centre forward, Harry Kane, obviously. On the left, that's where the confusion comes in. So I don't know who to flank Harry Kane. That's where I'm having it a bit difficult for myself. So I'm going to go with. Probably I'm going to go with maybe Mo Salah on the right and on the left, I don't know, sticking Iheanacho there.
Oh wow, that's a very good one. A true Nigerian who stuck Iheanacho there. That's like the first time I'm seeing Iheanacho in the lineup, and he didn't even mention Kevin De Bruyne or Bruno Fernandes. That's a very wonderful lineup. Well, guys, thank you for tuning into the Sports segment of the Weekend Show. The entertainment segment is up next. Stay tuned to the Weekend Show. There is more. Bye bye.